Hello, 9th standard CBSE children. Have a good day. Have a nice day. I hope you are all doing well. Today we are going to do video number 17, chapter 14, Natural Resources as second part. Sorry? And as I said earlier, we have been doing first part containing all these resources of earth, the natural resources of earth as air, water, rain, air pollution, and as a result of this air and water we have been learning air pollution, water pollution, and then different all sources of minerals which are rich in the earth, that we have been doing it. Okay, so that is as a first part of the lesson. And the second part we are going to do biogeochemical cycle. What does it mean? What are the heading explains? Bio referring to all biological reactions, geo referring to all, geo referring to actually earth, geographical portion. In what way earth is, we have learned as lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, all that put together biosphere portion, other bio geo chemical cycle. In what way they are interrelated, that is biogeochemical cycle. Sure. Now this, see the front page, first one, it is just out of interest I collected some images. First sunlight la ஒரு tree இருக்கு இல்லையா, so this one is preparing photosynthesis. So with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll, plants prepare food by the process photosynthesis, and as a result oxygen is given out. So that evolved gas oxygen is utilized for respiration. Same way carbon dioxide, atmosphere carbon dioxide is taken up for photosynthesis. I hope you could understand this figure. So adhe mari idu vandu animal respiration la carbon dioxide release ஆகுது, and then plant respiration la carbon dioxide is released. So that released carbon dioxide and the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere may also be taken for the photosynthesis. Are you clear? Then here fossil and fossil fuel irukku, adella utilize பண்றோம். Then ocean la வந்து whatever is in the mineral rich availability எல்லாம் படிச்சோம்ல, அதெல்லாம் taken up. Right? So this front page image is just giving a key concept idea for biogeochemical cycle. I hope you could start this lesson. So this is video 17, Natural Resources, chapter 14. Okay. Now constant interaction between the biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere makes it a dynamic but stable system. These interactions consist of transfer of matter and energy between the different components of the biosphere. Biosphere la enna sonne? Atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, together biosphere. Okay, so a constant interaction between biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere makes it dynamic but stable system. These interactions consist of a transfer of matter and energy between the different components of the biosphere. Are you clear? So this is introduction for biogeochemical cycle. ஒரு செகண்ட் go through பண்ண இந்த இதை introduction. செகண்ட் வந்து we will do first வந்து ஒரு சைக்கிளா இதில் உள்ளதை we will go through. I hope you understand. Shall I continue? Yes. Next. First, as I said, it is a key concept. Previous video the key concept. This chapter 14 natural resources includes resources of earth, air, movement of air, wind, rain, air pollution as a result, then water as a wonder liquid, water pollution, mineral riches in soil. Previous session, video 16 la pathom. Now we are going to continue biogeochemical cycle, water cycle, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, and as a result, greenhouse effect and global warming. Then oxygen cycle, ozone layer. Now as I said, this is biosphere as important natural resources available on earth and land, water and air. The region of earth where atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere interact and support life is called biosphere. Now living organisms constitute the biotic component of biosphere, air, water and soil forming the abiotic component. As we know, air is a mixture of gases like nitrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide. So in our textbook it is given as water evaporates from the water bodies and subsequent condensation of this water vapor leads to rain. That we know, right? But we don't see the seas and oceans drying up. It will not dry up at all. How is this possible? The whole process in which water evaporates and fall on the land as rain and later flows back to sea via river. It is known as water cycle. The cycle is not as straightforward and simple as the statement. All of the water that falls on the land does not roll immediately and it will not go immediately to the sea or ocean. Some of it seeps into the soil and becomes part of the underground reservoir for fresh water. பொதுவா மழை பெஞ்சதுன்னா we say water table, ground water will increase சொல்றோம்ல. நம்ம போர்லலாம் தண்ணி வரதுக்கு அதில் போச்சுன்னா தண்ணி வரும்னு சொல்றோம்ல. அதுதான். Some of this underground water finds its way to the surface through springs or we bring it to the surface of our use through well or tube well. இதுதான் water cycle. நம்ம bookல சின்ன gist கொடுத்திருக்கு. Now we will go with the picture explanation, description. And these pictures or images, they are self-explanatory. இது பாரு வாட்டர் சைக்கிள் இப்போ படிச்சேன்ல, இப்போ நம்ம ப்ரீவியஸ் presentation பார்த்தோம்ல, similar to that, when water bodies are heated during day, a large amount of water evaporates and rises up. Some water vapor also get into the atmosphere due to biological activities like transpiration and respiration. And as the water rises, it cools and condenses to form tiny droplets of water at the rain. Right? This appears as clouds. When these tiny droplets of water join together to form bigger drops of water, they fall down as rain or snow. Some of this water enters the ground and forms groundwater. And when water flows down from the land to sea, it carries many minerals and nutrients which are used by marine organisms. Okay, so this is water cycle in the image, and also this image you just understand. So these are the plants transpiring. So that is water vapor that condenses to form the cloud. Same way, மழை வந்து precipitation, மழை வந்து பெய்யுறது. Then in the sea or ocean, evaporate and condenses forming cloud. I hope you understand. So this is water cycle or hydrological cycle or hydrologic cycle. I hope you follow this. The next one, another water cycle. These images are, as I said, can explain clearly. What is it? First, precipitation. It is raining. Rain clouds raining. It's a green land. It is raining. And so it seeps into the soil. Infiltration and percolation. Number 7th soil percolation படிச்சிருக்கோம்ல. Similar that percolation rate depending upon the nature of the soil as clayey soil, loamy soil and sandy soil, water will percolate. As a result, movement of groundwater. இது வந்து ocean. It represents ocean. So மழை, the precipitation, இந்த மழையில வந்து oceanல வந்தாலும் after that it evaporates, forming the cloud. The cloud formation வந்து when water evaporates from wherever it is, as landல, seaலேருந்தோ, river main, seaலேருந்து, oceanலேருந்தோ, when it evaporates, it condenses to form the cloud. And that brings down as rain. So this is water cycle description. Now I may give this image and I will ask you to write comment on this. Then you will say how it is formed, when it is formed, and formation, what is condensation, what is precipitation, what is transpiration. All that you should know the definition. For all this you should know the definition. That is the main. We say this is, I know what is transpiration, what is condensation. It's not that. You should know the definition. And this condensation, precipitation, evaporation, whatever we are learning in biology and also in chemistry, first lesson you would have learned, that also can be applied for writing of your own sentences. Okay. The next one, again the same water cycle. கொஞ்சம் clear இருக்கு. Infiltration, water entering into the soil. That reserves groundwater. That increase, that stores the groundwater level. அப்போ நம்ம சொல்லுவோம்ல, மழை நிறைய பெஞ்சா அண்டர்கிரவுண்டில் வாட்டர் டேபிள் கூடும்ல, அண்டர்கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டர் கூடும். இது மாதிரி போர்வெல்ல தண்ணி ஏறும்னு சொல்கிறோம்ல. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டர் ஸ்டோரேஜ். Then water storage in ocean. This is fresh water, river water. Okay. So again this water storage in ocean or fresh water, it evaporates and it is condensation. Same way, சிலதில் நம்ம வந்து clouds இருக்கும், நான் சம்டைம் மழை பெய்யாது, கலைஞ்சு போயிடும் இல்லையா, அது வந்து water storage in the atmosphere. I repeat, water storage in the atmosphere, cloud formation will occur, but sometimes it will not rain. It stores the water droplets. So that is water storage in the atmosphere. Okay. And then this is again sublimation. Sublimation another, first it will evaporate and then cool down fast. That is sublimation. You have learnt in chemistry. So it is condensing again. I hope you follow this. Right? This is again another description for water cycle. I'll go to next. Description for water cycle. Go through for a second. Okay. The next one, it is now biogeochemical cycle. A constant interaction between the biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere makes it a dynamic but stable system. These interactions consist of transfer of matter and energy between the different components of the biosphere. Now this is the definition for what is biogeochemical cycle. ஒரு தடவை go through பண்ண. First நம்ம textbookல அதே தான் first கொடுத்திருக்கு. Page 196 lastல definition for this biogeochemical cycle. a constant interaction between the biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere makes it dynamic but stable system. This interaction consists of transfer of matter and energy between the different components of biosphere. Okay. Now this one, water cycle, nam paathitom but still faster poren. Condensation, first evaporation, adha through transpiration, sunlight la evaporate ஆகுது. Then condensation comes down as rain. அதுவும் இதே மாதிரி தான். And as a result, groundwater level increases. இது நம்ம textbook diagram. This is our textbook diagram. சரியா? So இதை புரிஞ்சுக்கோ. I will give again this groundwater லேருந்து என்னெல்லாம் பட்டு rain water and snow, evaporation, in the surface water evaporate ஆகுது. என்னது sunlight நாலேருந்து water vapor plants லேருந்து evaporate ஆகி நடுவில் arrow down coming down as rain. Are you clear? Next, it is nitrogen cycle. Next one is nitrogen cycle. As in plants, nitrogen cannot be utilized directly by the green plant. So it takes from the atmosphere in the form of nitrites and nitrate. And also during thunder and lightning, this nitrogen is decomposing into nitrites and nitrate. When it falls down as rain, it is taken. That atmosphere that nitrogen is broken down. So one is by lightning, another one this nitrogen is taken by the help of another one we are going to study, root nodules of leguminous plants. That helps the plant for nitrogen fixation. So இது ரெண்டும் nitrogen cycle image. Go through panna. There are 5 steps for nitrogen cycle. சரியா? So 5 steps. First one is nitrogen fixation, ammonification, then nitrification where it is converted into nitrites and nitrates, then denitrification. Okay. Now here see atmospheric nitrogen. First atmospheric nitrogen, it is reaching the plant, that is root system, mainly the root system, that is as root nodules of leguminous plants. And for this nitrogen cycle, this nitrogen fixing bacteria and some blue-green algae, they are playing an important role. Here, nitrogen fixing bacteria in root nodules of leguminous plants. Right? So when these root nodules fix the nitrogen, which in turn giving shelter for this bacteria, gets shelter from this plant. This mutual association or mutual benefit of both the partner, that association or phenomenon is called symbiosis. Okay, so this bacteria fixing nitrogen through root nodules, so it is taken by the plants, right? Then it is getting assimilated and then it has to be broken down into, converted into nitrites and nitrate by nitrifying bacteria. It is by nitrites and nitrate by nitrifying bacteria. So first thing you are nitrogen fixing bacteria. So this is nitrogen fixing. Some of them are soil bacteria. Soil then it is converted into ammonium compounds. So that process ammonification. First nitrogen fixation, ammonification, then nitrification. This nitrification is done by nitrifying bacteria where it is converted into nitrites and then nitrates. This nitrites further nitrifying bacteria into nitrates. Sharia. And then after utilizing this nitrogen, so nitrate compound, some of them they are denitrified. That unused is not left, it is denitrified by denitrifying bacteria, that in turn reaching the atmospheric nitrogen. இது ரொம்ப clear-ஆ இருக்கு இந்த steps. பாரு, first root nodules of leguminous plant fixing nitrogen, then nitrogen fixing bacteria, soil bacteria fixing the nitrogen, then ammonification, nitrification as nitrates and then nitrate, and then it is getting assimilated by the green plants, and there are some decomposers making it as the bacteria utilized. Okay, so this is nitrogen cycle introduction. This is clear. Next one, some nitrogen fixing organisms, especially bacteria, they are as free living aerobic bacterium. Aerobic, anaerobic nama padichirukom. In presence of oxygen, aerobic respiration. In the absence of oxygen, anaerobic respiration. So Acetobacter, Beechernica, Klebsiella, cyanobacteria. இதில் இந்த ரெண்டு மட்டும் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோ. எது? அசிட்டோபாக்டரும் cyanobacteria, they are free living bacteria. And free living another bacterium வந்து azospirillum. நம்ம எக்கனாமிக் பயாலஜியில் படிச்சிருக்கோம். azospirillum. Whereas free living anaerobic bacteria, where you can understand easily, rhizobium leguminous plant la Frankia ஒரு tree பேரு alden tree. Frankia alden tree. இது வந்து symbiont. Symbionts வந்து they are mutually benefited. Rhizobium legume, Frankia alden trees. Okay. Whereas free living anaerobic, Clostridium, Desulfovibrio, purple sulfur bacteria, purple non-sulfur bacteria, green sulfur bacteria. இதில் வந்து நீ Clostridium மட்டும் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோ. சரியா? So this is some nitrogen fixing organism. Now again nitrogen cycle in the nature, as nitrogen in the atmosphere taken by the green plant, nitrogen fixation, adukku protoplasm irukku. Next process வந்து ammonification, ammonia converted into nitrates, nitrate denitrification. Same way idhula indu nitrification site thunder and lightning la, then industrial fixation, nitrification, nitrates denitrification. I hope you understand this. The next one, it is nama book la ulladhu. Again uptake compounds of ingenduva atmospheric nitrogen, lightning fixing the nitrogen. நம்ம 7th la படிச்சோம்ல அந்த diagram. Lightning fixes nitrogen. Nitrogen fixing bacteria example blue green algae. Bacteria and blue green algae. Bacteria வந்து rhizobium, Acetobacter. Blue green algae fixing atmospheric nitrogen. Bacteria in turn fix nitrogen to nitrogenous compound. Okay. So அதே தான் repeat ஆயிருக்கு. Go through பண்ணலாம். Clear? The next one is definition. The process by which these forms, these forms get interconverted to maintain a constant amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere by physical and biological process is called nitrogen cycle. Definition படிச்சுக்கோ இது. The process by which of these forms get interconverted to maintain a constant amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere by physical and biological process is called nitrogen cycle. It includes 5 stages: ammonification, nitrification, nitrogen assimilation, denitrification, and again nitrogen fixation. Actually, nitrogen fixation first word. First nitrogen fixation, the fixed nitrogen is converted into ammonia and ammonium compounds, that further into nitrates and nitrates, or the nitrification. Then that nitrates should be assimilated, taken up, then unused or utilized denitrification. Rhizobium is involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plants. Leguminous plants na the pulses variety. Thorambarpu, avarakkai, beans, adella. And it lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants such as beans and peas. That association is called symbiotic association. Okay. The next one, we come to carbon cycle. Carbon cycle, again carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It is taken up for photosynthesis, organic compound in photosynthesis. And again during respiration it is decomposed. And then inorganic carbonate shell, petroleum, coal, limestone, carbonates in water, on combustion releases carbon dioxide, reaching the atmosphere again. Right? Next one, carbon cycle in detail, image description. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Another, withering of rock soil carbon reach ஆகுது. And fossil carbon, petroleum, coal, petroleum அதிலிருந்து carbon, then taken for microbial respiration and decomposition. Okay, அதே மாதிரி ஓஷன்லேயும் வரும். ஓஷனில் உள்ள அனிமல்ஸ் அண்ட் பிளான்ட்ஸ் ரெஸ்பிரேஷன், அதுக்கு கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு ரிலீஸ் ஆகுது. ரெஸ்பிரேஷனில் கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு இஸ் ரிலீஸ்டு. அப்புறம் இந்த ஃபேக்ட்ரி, இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் அதெல்லாம் ஹியூமன் எமிஷன். ஃபேக்ட்ரிஸ், இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸில் உள்ளதெல்லாம் ஹியூமன் எமிஷன். This is living organism respiring, releasing carbon dioxide, and it is taken up by terrestrial plants for photosynthesis. This is another explanation, image description for carbon cycle. Now, as a result, it is greenhouse effect. A part of the sunlight incident on the earth is reflected back in the form of infrared light. Some gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbon, it is in short as CFC, also known as greenhouse gases, present in the atmosphere, and it prevents the escape of heat from the earth by absorbing infrared light which is reflected back by the earth. An increase in percentage of these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere would cause an increase in average temperature worldwide, and this phenomenon is known as greenhouse effect. இது அப்படியே படிச்சுக்கணும். Okay, and thus heating of atmosphere due to absorption of infrared radiation by carbon dioxide molecule and other greenhouse gases is called greenhouse effect. இந்த greenhouse effectங்கிறத கொஞ்சம் பாஸ் பண்ணி இதை நல்லா படிச்சுக்கோ. I will ask questions. I hope you understand. ஒரு தடவை go through பண்ண ஒரு 2 seconds. This as nitrogen cycle பார்த்தோம், carbon cycle பார்த்தோம். இல்லை, கார்பன் சைக்கிள் இன்னொன்று நம்ம photosynthesis படித்தோம்ல, அதில் the utilization of glucose to provide energy to living thing involve process of respiration in which oxygen may or may not be used to convert glucose back to carbon dioxide. அதை ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோ. This carbon dioxide then goes back into the atmosphere. Right? Another process that has carbon dioxide that as carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is combustion, where fuels are burned to provide energy for various needs like heating, cooking, transportation and industrial process. Right? In fact, percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is said to have doubled in industrial revolution when human beings started using burning fossil fuel on a large scale. Sorry. So by increase in greenhouse effect, heat is trapped by glass, and hence temperature inside the glass enclosure will be much higher than the surrounding. This phenomenon was used to create enclosure where tropical plants could be kept warm during winter in cold climate. இப்போ இது படிச்சோம் இல்லையா, இதை திரும்ப படிச்சுக்கோ. The next one, oxygen cycle. Carbon dioxide and the reverse. This is the reverse. Oxygen from the atmosphere is taken up by the living organisms for breathing. That is respiration. Okay. So atmospheric oxygen, glucose, organic molecule glucose, that is respiration போது carbon dioxide water வரும். So this carbon dioxide photosynthesis லேந்து carbon dioxide வெளில வரும், oxygen is released. இந்த மாதிரி இதிலேந்து oxygen photosynthesis லேருந்து oxygen atmosphere போகுது. From the atmosphere oxygen is reaching the living organism for respiration. Okay. The next one, oxygen cycle. The கொஞ்சம் detailed இருக்கு. Lithosphere இது biosphere, respiration, atmosphere it reaches. Photosynthesis oxygen is released. I hope you are able to follow this. இதில் ஒரு word photolysis படிக்கிறோம். That is, during photosynthesis, the first chemical reaction to occur is photolysis, that is splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen during photosynthesis. That oxygen is released to the atmosphere. That oxygen is evolved as a byproduct. Okay. The next one is ozone layer. Ozone is important. Elemental oxygen is normally found in the form of diatomic molecule, that is O2. However, in the upper reaches of the atmosphere, a molecule containing 3 atoms of oxygen is found. That means formula for ozone is O3. Unlike normal diatomic molecule of oxygen, that is O2, ozone is poisonous, and we are lucky that it is not stable nearer to the earth's surface. Okay, and it performs essential function where it is present. It absorbs harmful radiation from the sun. Ozone important work. It absorbs harmful radiation from the sun. It prevents those harmful radiations from reaching the surface of the earth, where they damage many forms of life. அதனால அட்மாஸ்பியர்லேயே பத்திரமா இருக்கட்டும். அதே சமயம் see here, ஓசோன் அக்டோபரில் சேட்டலைட் பிக்சர் அக்டோபரில் எப்படி இருக்கு பாரு, 1980 1985 குறைஞ்சுட்டே வருது. ஓசோன் இது கூடிதாண்டே வருது. ஷோயிங் தி ஹோல், தட் இஸ் இந்த மெஜந்தா ஹோல் இருக்குல்ல, இந்த மெஜந்தா, இதில் மெஜந்தாவே இல்லை 1980. இதில் மெஜந்தா கலர் இருப்பார் ஜாஸ்தியாக இருக்குது 85. 90 நிறைய இருக்கு இல்லையா. ஸோ சேட்டலைட் பிக்சர் ஷோயிங் த ஹோல் மெஜந்தா கலர், இந்த பர்பிள், இந்த இடத்துல பிங்க் சொல்லுமே அது, in the ozone layer over Antarctica. I hope you are following. Same the continuation. Recently it was discovered that this ozone, various man-made compound like CFC, அதாவது chlorofluorocarbon, having both fluorine and chlorine, which are very stable and not degraded by any biological process, were found to persist in the atmosphere. Once they reach the ozone layer, they would react with the ozone molecule resulted in reduction of ozone layer, and recently they have discovered a hole in the ozone layer, especially above Antarctica. It is difficult to imagine the consequences of life on Earth if ozone layer dwindles further. Jasti varakudadu. But many people think that it would be better not to take chances. சரியா? So these people advocate working towards stopping all further damage to the ozone layer. I hope you understand. Yeah? So finally, what you have learnt, same what you have learnt in previous session also. Life on Earth depends on resources like soil, water and air, energy from the sun, and uneven heating of air over land and water bodies causes wind. Wind படிச்சோம்ல, evaporation of water from the water bodies and subsequent condensation give us the rain, and rainfall patterns depending on the prevailing of wind pattern in the area. சரியா? Various nutrients are used again and again in a cyclic manner. This leads to certain balance between various compounds of the biosphere. சரியா? So pollution of air, water and soil affect the quality of the land and harm biodiversity. So it is a must, and we need to conserve our natural resources and use them in sustainable manner. So this is our lesson chapter 14, natural resources. I hope you will understand. So go through the lesson again. Slowly we will understand one by one. Then as I said earlier, you have to prepare enrichment activity, 5 charts for Tamil Nadu and 5 for Jammu and Kashmir state. I hope you will do it. Please get ready. Okay. So we will continue in the next video session. Just இது மட்டும் sum up பண்ண ஒரு second. We will go through. Are you clear? Yes, sir. Sure. We will continue in the next video session. Thank you. Lesson go through panna, it is a must. And you have to prepare activity 10 chart or 10 PowerPoint comparing Tamil Nadu and Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. We will continue in the next video session.